Welcome, everyone, to the 35th episode of the Chris Perish podcast. My name is Chris Perish. I'm alongside with my guest, Curtis Barnum, current official for Pure Power Wrestling and for Love Pro Wrestling. But before we get to any introductions, I do want to get this little housekeeping out of the way. Shout out to Turnbuckle Studios, where I am a live affiliate partner to them. You can also be one as well if you want to follow the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program at the link below, which is affiliationprogram.my.canva.site. Then also, as you saw in the earlier video, rogueenergy.com. If you want to go to rogueenergy.com and check out the plethora of their flavors, whether it's my favorite, the blue raspberry, or you are maybe a U.S. citizen and you want to get them in the energy can form, do so. Just make sure that if you want to save, say, 10%, you can use my promo code PERISH, PERISH, to do so. So make sure you do that. Also, please give a like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, because you can help me get to affiliate on Rogue, where you can get an additional 10% once I become Rogue Energy affiliate. But we're not here for plugs. We're here for Curtis Barnum. Curtis, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the Chris Perish podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Perish. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. First off, I think the number one question is, the people who are watching this may or may not be associated with you. You are an official of professional wrestling, currently with Pure Power Wrestling and Love Pro Wrestling. How did you get involved into Pure Power Wrestling, and how did you become an official in the world of pro wrestling?
Well, I feel like I slip into one of the standard categories of referees, as there's a lot of them out there that are not trained. Literally, I was on my way to a show. I know a couple wrestler at the time. I was going to go watch him. On the way to the show, it was October 2017, just to date that. It's like, hey, we don't have a ref. You know how to count to 3. Legitimately. And then I got the "you didn't suck," which is actually a very good compliment from wrestlers when you get in the back there. And it's like, do you want to keep doing this? And that was near 7 years ago.
And you had your gear, right? We all know that the number one rule is you always bring your gear. You just had that.
There was no chance to have gear. I was in blue jeans and gray sneakers. And they threw me a striped shirt, and I still have that striped shirt 7 years later.
You gotta put that in a frame, man. That's a moment now that is a piece of history.
It's still in the gear bag for the backup in case I get blood all over another one. So it's still in rotation. It's just the backup.
See, now that's a little bit of a good little piece of advice for all other wanting to be officials too. It's always important to have a second shirt, second pair of pants, because you never know what could happen.
Second pair of shoes, as I've blown out soles on multiple shoes. I got doubles of everything.
There you go.
And one of the most important ones, wear black underwear.
Okay.
You're bound to blow the seams out.
Well, it's better than when I decided to not wear underwear, and then I had my gear ripped. Did a mall show. That was fun.
Oh, mall show, even better.
Yeah, it's always nice when a little kid says, "I saw your balls," and you're just like, "I got to wear underwear now." What? No. Okay, I just said kind of my most embarrassing moment. What are some of the most embarrassing moments you've had so far as an official, whether it's PPW, Love Pro Wrestling, maybe somewhere else?
Embarrassing? Probably most refs, I think, have gone through it once, and I believe you're all allowed to do it once. You screw up a finish. Guys,
it happened.
Kick out 1, 2, delayed. 3, at least I didn't freeze, but I felt like shit because it was a championship match, changing titles. But I had my one, and I'll never let it happen again.
Hey, you knew how to count to 3, but sometimes we all forget, right?
Absolutely. You're like, 1, 2, are you kicking? No, crap. All right, 3. I was just at AEW earlier in July at AEW Collision. One of their refs did it.
Yeah.
So you would hope at that level, but it makes me feel better about the screw up I did. No, that'd be maybe a year and a half into my career.
Are you kind of like, hey, Tony, I can do this as well, and I'll be a little cheaper. Hire me, please.
Yeah, that is legit what I said to the person that I came with me, and I'm like, well, I can screw that up. Come on, Tony.
I mean, if you're just handing all this money to people, I mean,
right.
my pockets are empty. You've been nicknamed the Count over at Pure Power Wrestling. I want to ask you just how you ended up becoming that. I know it could be self-explanatory, but is there maybe a different reason, a different why to how that name became applicable to you?
Well, the trainers at PPW, Sydney Steele and Kyle Sebastian, Sydney Steele kind of named all the refs, and he had a habit of pulling, Stanley. He usually does like the double letters, Peter Parker, all that stuff. So he did that with some of the other refs, Glenn Green, Jumpin' Josh. Got to me, the Count Curtis Barnum comes from, because I literally came from the circus. Before wrestling, I was doing the Cirque du Soleil aerials, 20 feet up in the air on silks type of stuff. So Barnum's for P.T. Barnum, and the Count, I believe, comes from more the your MC of the circus, the guy in the middle, leading the way.
What was your forte in the circus?
I did doubles with a good friend of mine. We did, our main one was the aerial silks. We were getting into the more ground-based stuff. We both got our acro yoga teacher certification. It's kind of, you think, partnered yoga with dancing, free flow on the ground. And most of the stuff we put together, kind of like wrestling, except a lot more detailed on A through Z. They all were lovers, quarrels, fights. So I actually got to, before I was even in wrestling, got drop kicked, got a head scissors given to me.
What is the major difference, if there are major differences or even some similarities to the life on the road as a wrestling official versus life on the road on a circus?
I never really got far into the circus things. COVID kind of shut all that down. But to go a little behind the break the wall a little bit in regards to wrestling versus whatnot. Circus, you work a long time to put together a 5-minute piece. It's usually backed by music. And you get to charge a hell of a lot more than a 15-minute to 60-minute piece together, more on the fly wrestling match. The dollar figures are like tenfold different when it comes to indie wrestling versus circus. So the biggest difference, the pay, but you can put a lot of work behind the scenes perfecting it.
So if you were to get that hot dog and a handshake at wrestling, I'm scared to ask what you were getting at the circus.
Well, I can go a little bit. We did a group piece for a Canada Day. There was, I think, like 12 of us involved, and I had a smaller bit in it, and I still got $250.
Okay, I mean that's pretty solid.
Some of the higher up, the organizers, I think they were damn near $750 for that. So when you compare that to the indie levels we're kind of at, that's some good coin.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no. But
precisely,
I kind of want to ask. So, like, how did you end up getting into the circus stuff? Like, and kind of like, what inspired you to go into that route? Because we'll go back into the officiating, but this was a turn I did not expect. So
many people don't, and then I'm like, why do you think it's Barnum, man? It's BT Barnum. But the good friend I have that became my I guess you'll call dance partner for a lot of the partner stuff we did. She was doing it. They had just kind of an open tryout thing, much like you do in wrestling. And she was like, I've signed you up. Come. So I did. And then I did that for, how long did I do that for? I don't know, we'll say about 4 or 5 years.
All right. Was there anything that you did in the circus that kind of made wrestling simpler, or was there something about circus that, maybe it's stuck in your memory to where it makes things in wrestling tougher? What were the correlations like when you made that transition?
There's way more similarities than there is differences. I did learn specifically, I'm not the most athletic out there. I can get by, but I'm one of your taller refs at 6 foot, and I'm very long armed gangly. So I'm not very smooth in that. I found my spot within the circus as well, more on the production side and helping people put together and choreograph their circus stuff. And the performances on aerials or anything you're doing like that, much like wrestling, you're there to tell a story. Got your ups, your downs. And I just kind of found my niche within the production side and helping everybody else put together the routine and kind of lead them through it. And then when it comes to wrestling and refereeing, I'm there as well, trying to help them tell the story as best they can.
What about the production side really captures your eye? Because I know and it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily understand because it's not something you see. But what is it about that production side that really captures your attention span and makes you kind of absorb over to it?
I just like putting on a good show for people. I guess what it comes down to, and each match is its own story, but each show is its own story. And as well as you got your long-term storytelling for each individual story and making sure that none of them repeat, giving the fans variety. You don't want the matches starting the exact same 3 times in a row, having the exact same moves throughout. And you just I just like to give people a good show from the moment they walk into the door to 20 minutes after they leave at the end of the night. Just literally from the matches to your entranceways. I'm part of that production side. I've usually build the entranceways for PBW every night, and we got videos and people walk in, down, make sure that levels are good. I do that. Just found where I can fit in and add the most value.
Now, with wrestling, obviously, you kind of look at production levels like a WWE, and there's really nothing higher than WWE production. And you see that. And you see how much it makes the show just that much more of a spectacle. When we see a circus, it's almost like, or I view it as you're kind of watching theater in a way with acrobatics and things like that. And it's very similar to wrestling. What production wise is different about maybe pro wrestling? Because I know in pro wrestling you have the screens, you can have all the little, like the fog machines and all that stuff. What are some things about the circus that were maybe a little bit different and difficult that you endured?
Circus is more, I guess, versus wrestling. Wrestling is full of a lot of improv and calling things on the fly and running with what happens. Whereas with a lot of the circus performances, like I said, you can sometimes take 3 months to put a 5-minute piece together, depending on what you got going on with the rest of your life, of course. And it's a lot more difficult to go on the fly. Where circus, you have to, if you screw up, you have to move on. But I think it can be harder to hide that you screwed up in a performance piece at the circus. And a lot of it's more set-based. But you're still, even in an hour-long circus piece, it's still, you have a lot of individual performances, group performances. But instead of breaks in between, it just lets you go from one song to the next to the next. But when you look at it from production side, they're quite similar from the ones I've seen, because I've gone to them as well as been a part of them. It's very similar, I think, from the production end.
Okay. Now, as we kind of get back into the wrestling aspect, I want to talk a little bit more about we touched on how you got into the pure power wrestling. What has kind of made you appreciate the officiating aspect of pro wrestling, and what was, now that you're multiple years into it, what drives you? Because passion is such a big part to the professional wrestling lifestyle, but what was it about being an official that really caught your eye and made you appreciate your role in pure power wrestling as an official?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I was going just shows as a fan in the crowd, and you mostly watch the wrestling, of course, right? Like nobody's there to buy a ticket to see the ref. We all know that. However, you can notice a ref can screw up a fantastic match very easily. If they don't do their job, they can take away from a 5-star match easily. So knowing that can happen, and then, you know, being from a fan side in the stands versus literally my first match in the ring, which was Kato versus THC, it opens up a completely different world when you're on that stage versus out in the stands, and you realize how much more you can add as a ref without being front and center. So just literally, I'd love to see the guys, the gals, whoever in betweens in the ring. I just like seeing them smile at the end and helping them. If I can help them get that match just that much better, it brings a smile to my face.
What? Now I've touched on the fact that you've done some work for Love Pro Wrestling. Are there any other promotions out there that you work with? And if so, what are some? And talk about how you were brought into Love Pro Wrestling as well.
Yeah. So I'll start with how I was brought into Love Pro. Just, I guess, over the years of officiating, I caught the attention of, I guess it would be the lead official in Love Pro, being Ben Oman. And he's a guy much like me. He has my heart. He's a fantastic guy who also wants to kind of has the same mindset as me, is let's make officiating. He's leading the way, actually. And so I got to give him his props in trying to get officiating, at least in Alberta, bringing it up on the levels. So he obviously noticed what I was doing and really took a huge step with the office in Love to bring me up, because I'm down here based. Pure Power Wrestling's based out of Lethbridge, but I live in a small little town, Fort McLeod, west of Lethbridge, so it's damn near a 5-hour drive. And he stuck his neck out there for me to bring me up, and I'm ever so grateful for that. And so whenever they're short on refs, Ben's the first one. He calls on me, see if I'm available. So, and I love what Love's doing up there. You guys have quite the production levels. But in regards to other organizations, I am extremely regular with Can-Am Wrestling. They're based out of Calgary, do kind of a little south of Red Deer to kind of Okotoks area, and they're kind of expanding. And I was with them since they restarted, because they were going in the 90s and stuff like that. Or Otto Gentile, or as he goes by, Vinny Fever, if he's in character, just reached out to him because he was the one that was starting it. And I've been there with them since they restarted day one, however many years ago. I can't keep track of stuff anymore. So I'm with them, I think, more than any other, because they run 4 to 6 times a month, or PPWs maybe twice a month. So I'm with them a lot. I'm quite fortunate. By the time this comes out, August 4th, I'll have going to Creston and Castlegar with Thrash Wrestling. Nico, they're bringing me out, so that'll be my first foray into Thrash Wrestling. Been up to Primetime Wrestling up in Prince George for their first 2 shows. Vance Nevada has been huge help for me in his 30 plus years of wrestling, so he seems to have taken a liking to me, which I'm very very, very grateful for. So he brought me all the way up to Prince George. A couple times. I have 13 odd hour drive. I've done real Canadian wrestling for Squig here and there, maybe 1 or 2 times a year. And I'm sure I'm missing some, but yeah, I get around and I'm more than willing and want to keep expanding all the organizations within Alberta through BC and even beyond if I can. I know it's hard for to bring refs anywhere. So anytime I can go somewhere, hop in a vehicle, it's fantastic.
One place it wasn't very difficult, I guess, for you to appear on, and that was the Ear, which is the weekly newsletter for the Cauliflower Alley Club. I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. You were mentioned and with a photo in the Ear. How did that come about, and what does that mean to you as someone who is from Fort McLeod, Alberta, just a small town outside of Lethbridge, getting into a newsletter where they're honoring guys like Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, just absolute icons in this business?
That I have to give everything to Vance Nevada. He is the editor of the Year. And I went to my first Cauliflower Alley Club reunion last year in 2023. And that's actually where they had CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, Mickey James was there, Serena Deeb, the Nasty Boys, Coco Beware, many other huge names. Yeah, Vance took a liking to me, decided he wanted an article with a referee perspective. He had former WWE referee Kevin Jeffries, who won the, get the name, I don't want to say Charles Smith, but the referee award for the CAC last year in 2023. He had him on there. He had legendary Texas-based referee James Beard add to the article, and then me. So to be able to contribute, yeah, right? You'd laugh. I'd laughed, and
I'm laughing at the way you're perceiving yourself, because
right, like
I can say, I just want to say, like, you deserve the recognition. You deserve that stuff. I laugh because of the humbleness that you're giving yourself, but just know that was well deserved, my friend.
I appreciate that. I do also try to stay as humble as I can, although some people in the locker room might say otherwise when I'm back there. But yeah, no, just to be asked to contribute to an article of like adding pointers for new and upcoming referees to be put in the same literally article as those two is, yeah, just humbling beyond means. And I can't ever thank Vance Nevada for giving me that opportunity.
One of the and before I get to that, yeah, a huge thanks to Vance Nevada. If anybody wants to get a little bit more informed about the Canadian wrestling scene, make sure you're going and checking out Vance Nevada's book Uncontrolled Chaos, as it is out stores now. As you'll see, both of us we're a part of that book, but at the same time, yeah, you'll find out so much about the history of Canadian pro wrestling. But the question I want to kind of pigtail off this is, I've been to a few Cauliflower Alley clubs myself, and one of the things I've found so enlightening about this is you have an ability to learn so many different waves and lives of pro wrestling, and you're expanding your knowledge, your connections of just everyone throughout the world, especially the United States. Did you get a chance to meet other officials and maybe get some advice? And if so, who was it from, and what did you learn from those people?
I was lucky enough to, they had a couple seminars while they're down at the CAC, and I took part in one with James Beard talking about wrestling territory of Texas in the 80s and 90s. Managed to talk to him, fortunately, just for a short little bit, maybe like 90 seconds at the end of it. You may not know this because you've been in the locker room with me. I'm actually quite shy to begin with. So I will shoot on myself. I did not take advantage in the way that I should have. And that's on me, but we're all human. But and also talked with Kevin Jeffries a little bit, but it was his year. He was getting the award. I just wanted him to have a good time. I didn't want to pick his ear and bug me. I just have a good time with him. We drank quite a bit. It is Vegas. Had good talks, but I didn't pick his ear that much because just too shy. I didn't want to take up their time, man.
I mean, I just want to. You're just really playing coy right now because we all know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So, I mean, I think you're just really much playing coy to that. But needless to say, no, anybody who has the chance to go to the Cauliflower Alley Club, I definitely will say you should try to do that at least once. It is very much a fun time just seeing some of the shows, getting a chance to meet a lot of people you never thought you'd meet. It's pretty eye-opening from a perspective. I want to kind of target back to Pure Power Wrestling for a bit. Obviously, that is where you and I both met. That is something very close to both of our hearts. I know they have a show coming out in September, Power Slam. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? Because it comes out of the Enmax Center, the arena to where the Lethbridge Hurricanes, the Western Hockey League team, plays. This is, I believe, their fourth show at the Enmax.
Fifth, I believe.
Okay. Well, that's why you're the official, right? You know how to count.
I try.
Yeah, but talk about just the growth from the day that you arrived to current day, present day, and talk us a little bit more about Power Slam. Talk us more about Pure Power Wrestling, because I believe it is one of the companies in Alberta that doesn't get enough recognition.
Yeah. So I'll have to correct you on one thing. The one September 28th, it's actually Bridge City Brawl 3.
Well, see, I mean, nobody said I'm smart.
Power Slam was the April show, our anniversary show.
Well,
so, but yeah,
well, I was out that one. I got hit hard, all right?
Do you take a lot of hits to the head? I've seen a lot of them. So
yeah, and there's not a lot. I always say I got to keep him out space for that monkey banging the drums in my head. Like I can't. Like he has to stay there.
Oh yeah,
it's his home.
It's hard to keep track of it all, man. So, right. But yeah, so I started October 2017. They were in a smaller gym at the Fritz Sick Center in Lethbridge, 120 people per show. And saw quite a bit of growth. They had a change in ownership and steadily saw the production levels, the wrestling, the front of house change and grow. As well with that came the fan base, to the point of right before COVID hit in March 2020, our very last show, they outgrew the small gym at the Fritz Sick. We moved over to a German Canadian club, which kind of was a really cool venue. It had a little, kind of a small ECW arena feel.
Mm-hmm.
They had mezzanines and stuff. Our Power Rumble, which we run every February. As much as wrestling, everybody inflates the numbers. This is no inflation. This is legitimate numbers. We were at fire capacity on that building. So
now, for the people who don't know, what is fire capacity?
At the German Canadian Club was 365 people. So we were literally packed to the rafters. They had three little mezzanine areas. And yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. The night before, we were in Tabor and had 240 people for a town of 10,000. That's pretty significant, I would say. And we had huge momentum going in, then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then everything came to a standstill for a little bit. We were able to continue to pump out. We have Pure Power Wrestling as a weekly YouTube show called Power Slam TV, which also ran on Shaw Spotlight, which I believe Shaw got bought by Rogers. So we're now on Rogers. You can see it locally only in
I believe it's
Lethbridge.
Ignite TV. I believe.
There we go.
So,
Yeah. You can see it in Lethbridge, and we're now expanded into Medicine Hat. So during COVID, we were able to continue with the weekly Power Slam TV ones. Those were very interesting things to do. We would film like 3 to 5 weeks of TV at once with an extremely small crew and no fans. It was very, very different. Took a studio route of it. Yeah, so we would have upwards of, because then we'd run TV matches. We would run, if we did like 4 or 5 weeks of TV, there'd be about 15, 16 matches we'd run in one evening. So we'd be able to continue to put out entertainment for those, because I know that was a hard thing to do during COVID. But then we came back, we saw the room for growth, so we moved to from the German Canadian club to the large gym at the Fritz. It has capacity closer to 450, so we wanted some extra growth. Seeing some good growth, and then within the office there and the trainers, especially Sydney Steele, he had a goal from when he kind of came into Pure Power Wrestling of running the hockey arena, the Enmax Center, and it would be over 3 years ago. Bit the bullet, bit down, and decided we were going to do it. It's quite an undertaking. Very much was. It is not easy or cheap to run something like that. The Enmax Center has been a fantastic partner with us. They're giving us a sweetheart deal. I'm not gonna lie. They see some awesome stuff in us being a local company and working with us. And first show was huge success. Learned a lot, of course, because you go from a gym to a hockey arena, and you have a lot of learning curves. And then very successful. Went on from there. That was fall, and then we ran our anniversary show, and now we're on our 5th iteration of the Enmax Center. This one hopefully going to be our biggest one.
And just for everyone, where would you be able to say get tickets? Where can you find all the information for that?
Pure Power Wrestling is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You just search for it. They're all slightly different. I think Instagram, Pure Power Wrestle, Facebook's Pure Power Wrestling. Go through there. Got a website, purepowerwrestling.ca, which should have links to the tickets, and as well for the Enmax show, September 28th. All tickets to that will ultimately be routed through enmaxcenter.ca.
Awesome. I'll make sure that all gets added to the comments and to the sections for not only on Spotify but for the show as well. So yeah, make sure you guys are getting your tickets, checking this out, because I can tell you from just being a part of a few of them myself, they are fantastic shows. The aura is fantastic. There always tends to be a big name, but you want to stay tuned to Pure Power Wrestling for that, as I know can't give out anything here. We're not there yet. But one thing I did want to ask you, as something that I'm always really interested in. A lot of pro wrestlers, when they get into pro wrestling and they become people or just fans that wanted to try it to people that are doing it, they always say they tend to watch pro wrestling differently. They either study it, they either critique it, or they're looking at it from a different perception. What's interesting with you is that you're an official. And I say that because I ask, do you now watch pro wrestling different from, do you watch what the competitors are doing? Do you watch the official and what they're doing? How do you view pro wrestling now after your introduction and now your current state as an official in pro wrestling?
Oh, yeah, 100% completely different perspective looking at it. At the time, 2017, there was Lucha Underground on Netflix, the first 2 seasons. I'd watched that before. Then I got into officiating, and I'm like, okay, well, time to study up, because there wasn't any referee training. I'm one of those quote unquote self-taught. but with the help of, Sydney Steele and Kyle Sebastian, but they weren't officials. They didn't really have that background to really lead me to be as good as I wanted to be, because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all in. So shortly after, I decided, yeah, sure, let's give this a go. I literally rewatched season 1 and 2 of Lucha Underground on Netflix, because I didn't have the network or anything like that. And to be honest, I wasn't really watching wrestling at the time.
I mean, to be fair, in a few months, the network is going to be on Netflix anyway.
Oh, there you go. So there's just so much wrestling.
You just chose the winner well before it.
There you go. It was just easily accessible to me. So go back and watch season 1 and 2 again, but actually pay attention to the officiating, because nobody, right? Like, you don't watch the ref unless they screw up, really. Like, other than that, because you want to be present but not in the front. So I completely rewatched that, and then did what I could from there, and then dove even deeper. Thankfully, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, Spotify, stuff like that. A guy named Odie Brown, actually down in, I think he's California based. He kind of started a referee based stuff on Facebook, Zebra Talk. And he, for a little while, I think he only got about 18 episodes deep. Literally did a podcast of nothing but interviewing referees. Jimmy Corderas had some stuff online. He does this ref and rant. I just went and literally sourced out the joys of social media and the internet nowadays, to age myself. By the time this comes out versus when we're recording it, I will turn 40. I got into this late in the game.
I can't tell, and I legitimately mean that.
That's a lack of bumps.
Hey, I mean, I'm 40 in like a year and a half, so I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just dove into as much referee-based stuff I could find online and learn from some of the best, and look at it from a official-based standpoint versus just the fan and the wrestling. And then, like, on top of that, like, I do have wrestling training. I can take bumps, duplexes, body slams, stuff like that. I think that's truly really important as well from a officiating standpoint, to know what things feel like and how they're supposed to occur, so that if they don't hit properly or whatnot, when something isn't right, because
you got to be prepared.
Number one priority is your guys' safety. I don't want any of you guys getting hurt, especially on my wall.
Well, yeah, and you also have to be prepared too. Like, if you are in, it's just like the way I look at it. If you're going to be an official to any sort of sport, you almost have to learn the worst case scenario as well. If you do get hit and you do get pushed down, you want to make sure that you're also hitting the mat on a proper level, because you don't want to injure yourself, because you're going to recover. You got to be there to make that count. You got to be there to call that disqualification, count that person out. You have to be there. You're the official to the match, and you are also the voice of reason. So one of the important things is, yes, like, you got to be aware of not only the job and the task at hand, you got to be there for the worst case scenario as well. I'm curious because, well, you know me. What's the best and the worst bump you've had to take as a referee to date?
The best was actually probably through Love Wrestling. Okay. It was a 6-man tag between Group 7 and the Rads. I took, what would it be? Basically a big Claymore kick from Jack Pride. Okay. I was out of position in behind, I forget who, one of the Rads moved, took a massive Claymore kick from him. I was out for, I don't know, 8-10 minutes. But watching it back on video, it looked fantastic. And the worst one, this was earlier on in my training, and this is why, as a referee, you should be trained in all the wrestling stuff. I got squished by the big 369-pounder, the big sexy beast, Bradley Graham, against a brick wall. And I didn't have that training yet, so I didn't do what was required to keep myself safer, and ended up dislocating a rib on that. Still finished the match, but
a lot of people would say he was the brick wall in that scenario too.
Well, I got caught between a brick wall and a brick house. So that dude does not know his own strength.
No.
He is a strong boy.
So you were physically stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Essentially.
It was a falls count anywhere match, and yeah.
And the casualty was a rib.
Yep, dislocated rib. I've dislocated a rib twice now with wrestling, but that one's popped out. I did that. That comes from the circus days. My partner doing a move, need me in the rib, popped out. So now it just pops out.
Just got to get you some hockey pads now, and you'll be okay.
I can't be wearing more pads than you guys, which you guys don't even wear much any pads anyways. No. I got the knee braces because my knees are shit.
It's
my
okay.
bad.
It's okay.
All right. They're not great.
There's a button that I hit that says like.
There you go. We'll try to keep. I had my one.
It's YouTube that are the sticklers, but we're okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Now I have to ask because I think this is always fun to think. You talked about how you do watch wrestling a little bit differently, and the one thing I want to ask is: are there current officials, regardless of companies, and we also talked about your appreciation for men, Omen, however you want to pronounce it. Are there present officials, past officials that you love to watch? And if so, who? And here's the biggest question. Why are they so important to you?
I think the first one that pops in my head pretty high up on the list would be Paul Turner with AEW. And previously, he was with Ring of Honor forever. His professionalism and, more importantly, his awareness of the guy's safeties. He caught the concussion from Adam Page, like immediately called the match off right then and there. I think his awareness of the guys and gals' safety within the ring is pretty top notch. He's really aware of that. He doesn't make himself front and center. He just seems to be in the right position all the time. It's something I aspire to. Daniel Spencer within TNA. He's kind of along the same lines. I believe he's also mentioned that Paul Turner is somebody he looks up to. So it's pretty similar in that aspect. Not gonna lie, I don't have time to go back and watch a bunch of old stuff. But from what I recall, I did watch wrestling growing up.
Right? It's almost too much.
Oh, there's way too much. But what I recall from growing up was Charles Robinson, Jimmy Corderas, Nick Patrick, just because he was right. You recall Nick Patrick? He's the heel ref and 6 foot. Oh, was he like 220 or something like that? So he stood out. He was very different looking.
Is it still just insane that Charles Robinson is still going?
Yeah, and he looks great.
Like, this guy was Little Nate. He idolized Ric Flair in that WCW NWA. Used to ref Dusty Rhodes, and then now he's reffing Cody Rhodes as world champion. It's mind-blowing how guys like him and PCO always, they just don't know how to slow down.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to actually ref the match with PCO. And
wow, I did not expect that to be going into something. That's awesome.
Right? I've been very fortunate with some of the names I've been able to do, and PCO and his I forget the name of his move, but goes from the top rope.
PCO.
I've got that one. The flip onto the apron that, let's face it, usually is missed.
Yep.
So I've seen him take that ball and perfectly good. I'm like, you are what, 60?
56 actually.
Oh, there you go. But he's just been around for so long, right?
I didn't look it up while watching Slammiversary at all.
I still have to watch that because we're recording the day after Slammiversary, but I had a show yesterday, or we'll say on the day of Slammiversary. So I didn't get home till 1 a.m, as is the wrestling life. So I'll hopefully watch it sometime this week when I have time. It just keep busy with wrestling. I just, because of this, I didn't really keep track when I started. Probably should have, as most people say, probably should have, but keep track of matches and whatnot. I started last year, and last year I did 57 shows with 205 matches.
Wow.
As of our recording on July 21st, I'm at 50 shows for 2024 with 192 matches.
Ooh.
So
I surpassed that 200 mark this year for sure.
I'm on track to be over 300.
You're probably going to hit it at the next show. Let's not lie. Like,
Oh.
There's been days where I know, and the shows where I've seen you do 6 matches a night because you're the only one there. And that is why I handed you flowers earlier with the ear newsletter, because that's just a workhorse in my eyes.
Yeah, I figured I'm around 1,200 odd matches so far in my career. So
Well, congratulations.
quite blessed to be able to have that many and people put that much faith in me.
That's a lot of count to twos. Let's be honest. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize that a 2 count is so much overused in a wrestling match. How many times in your life are you counting to 2 and you're just happy you can get to 3?
Well, it probably happened out of the 1,200, 3 counts probably happened about 900 to 1,000 of them. Yeah, and then wonder why all the fans wonder if I can count to 3.
Well, I mean,
do it on the regular.
I mean, the fans always have their reasons.
The fans are fantastic, so
yes.
I'll take their razzing. They're bugging me. That means they're paying attention.
That's fair. Before we get to our last few questions, I am going to play a quick little video to showcase Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Appreciation Program. Just the shows that you can watch, including the Chris Perish podcast. So before we get to the last few questions, check out this video. And that's what we have on tap every week. For any changes, you will see that down the road. But as we kind of get to the tail end of this interview, I just want to say thank you so much for joining the Chris Perish podcast and joining me, as it was a lot of fun to just catch up and also get to know you a little bit more. But I think one of the last questions I do want to ask you is, it is Pure Power Wrestling related. It's just, I want to talk to you about some of the greatest matches that you've officiated, because as performers, you're always happy with, the crowd participation and if the show's a success and all that good stuff. But there's a lot of pride in having a good performance and knowing that you're part of something special. And usually a good match always represents that. What are some of the best matches you've had the honor of being a part of?
I figured this might be a question you asked, so I tried to think this morning.
You don't have to say my matches, because God knows that should not be part of it.
Actually, legit. Well, now you brought that up, legit.
Although I think I did have one of the best kickouts with your count.
Oh yes, I put that in one of my reels actually, because I decided if I want to try to get up there a little bit, I had to put some of that stuff together. And yeah, one of the good 1-2 oohs as I'm sliding in across the entire ring.
Hell of a slide, might I add, by the way.
That's why I added it, man.
There's
a 16-foot ring. I saw my opportunity. Anytime I can see an opportunity to try to do a run in and slide 14, 15 feet across the ring, I'm going to take that.
I don't know if
I can, but
I don't know if you remember this, but I remember the kick out, because I remember you sliding in and they kick out. And as soon as I kicked out, I just yelled safe, by the way.
Nice. Yeah. But one that does stick out from you, actually, there's two from you. Yeah. And they're both against Travis the Heat Copeland.
Yeah.
And Pure Power Wrestling, your guys' first touch. I don't remember what year, but it was the Southminster Church. When we had to go somewhere else, the Fritz was unavailable at the time. It was you guys' first touch together.
I think that was
12, 15 minutes.
That was either late 2020 or early 2021.
I'll say 2021 because I don't think there was any wrestling going on in 2020 with crowds.
Not at the early part, but I think at the latter part, things were opening up a little bit more.
And then also what was, as happens in wrestling, a retirement match with you against Travis the Heat Copeland. You two create, like, both times just created some fantastic magic together. Joy to be a part of those two. And at the time it was potentially your last match, but as wrestling retirements go,
I had a kid, things changed.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I tell everybody, because I'm part of the office, let's break that a little bit with PPW, and people like, oh, I got my family, kids, what? I'm like, family's got to come first. Wrestling will still be here. Yeah. Like, I understand if you want to go place you want to whatnot, but you got a kid growing up. Kid's only growing up once.
Yeah,
you guys got to be a part of that. This coming from a guy who has no kids and never wants kids. Telling you guys, no, be there for your kid.
Very much, I agree. What are some other great matches that you were a part of?
During the COVID spell, did a 60-minute Ironman match with Sydney Steele and Travis the Heat Copeland. You think I'm biased towards Travis the Heat Copeland? Yeah, I kind of am. Well, we'll break that wall. Most people don't know. This will be the first, public saying of this. He is legitimately my brother.
Okay.
He was the one that called me. He was the one that I was going to see. That's why I went and saw my brother once a month. That's all I saw him beforehand. He was the one why I went to go see PPW, to go support my brother. He got me into the business. And so, yeah, I got a little biased towards him. I think he throws some great matches.
That's why I lost. Okay.
I have no choices in the bookings, my man. I'm not the booker. I'm just part of production side.
This is real, right? But yeah.
Listen here, booker man.
Just
yeah, that 60-minute Ironman match was fantastic. During the COVID aspect, and just a little cheeky poke from my end of things. I wore a mask. We were in the COVID times. There was regulations. I had a mask on for the whole 60 minutes. I had gloves on for the whole 60 minutes. It was just kind of not complete. You can breathe through those. To get a little political on that, I guess. But
it gets sweaty though.
Oh, legitimately, I probably had it within the gloves. I probably, once I took those off, at least like a tablespoon or two of sweat per glove came pouring out.
Pretty disgusting. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, 100%. But to be a part of it.
And you're bringing that into a locker room where there's topless, sometimes bottomless Bradley Graham. But that is disgusting.
He was on that show, yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, because that show actually I was a solo ref as well. So I not only Ironman match the entire show, I also did a 60-minute Ironman. So just for toot my own little horn, to be able to do that. be part of a 60-minute Ironman match was just fantastic. Something to check off the bucket list. All types of matches I want to be a part of. So
good stuff. We're just kind of nearing the time now. I want to just again reiterate, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have to do a round 2 just because, well, we can never get everything in on the first one. But as I throw up your socials right now, let the people know a little bit more of where they could find you, where they can support the Count, Curtis Barnum, and what are some of the big events you want to reiterate that you have coming up?
As they can see scrolling on the bottom there, you can find me on Facebook at Curtis Barnum. That's probably where I'm more active, but you can also find me on Instagram at refcountdb. That's probably where you'll find some more fun stuff, I guess. It's not posted as often, but you'll see actual just pictures or video clips, stuff like that. Facebook is literally mostly just plugging the upcoming shows, doing my job, promoting shows. I'm not huge on the social media, but you can find me there. But more importantly, follow any and all independent wrestling throughout Alberta, Western Canada. There's some fantastic stuff going on out there, like Pure Power Wrestling, Can-Am Wrestling, Love Pro Wrestling, which they just announced yesterday, July 20th, July 19th, because obviously it's going on August 4th. They're doing the West Edmonton Mall.
Mm-hmm. West Edmonton Brawl.
West Edmonton Brawl, there's the name of it. Yes, with Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam, yeah.
All right.
That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. The amount that indie wrestling in Alberta, the growth is fantastic. All the promotions out there, ones I haven't even ref for, I'll say yet. So I'll give them a plug too. Be like, hey, I'm available. You got top talent. You got dungeon wrestling with Bret Hart's kids. Just all throughout Alberta. It's a fantastic time to be an independent wrestler or fan within Alberta.
Great stuff. Curtis, once again, thank you so much. And for everyone, thank you so much for checking out the Chris Perish podcast. We'll see you next week and all of the episodes. Go Saints.